why is something as arbitrary as money keeping us from providing for average people? Wouldn't it make society better if all of us had our needs met and we didn't have to fight to survive? I read the Communist Manifesto the first time when I was like 16 or 17.
Take a drink every time he says bourgeoisie.
Get something with a low ABV if you're gonna go for that, for sure.
Cutiespectives is presented ad-free thanks to the support of viewers like you. Hello everyone, welcome back to Cutiespectives, sharing the perspectives of people all throughout the LGBT spectrum. I'm Jasmine Page, and today I'm welcoming another very special guest to the show, revolutionary communist Jasper Sharif. Thank you so much, Jasper, for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me, Jasmine. I'm so excited.
Yeah. So the day that this episode airs, it is actually America's 250th birthday. Yay! Or boo!
Yeah, yippee.
Do you have anything to say about America's 250th birthday?
Yeah. I mean, the founding of the United States started with a revolution. And like in our Constitution, it lays it out pretty clearly. The most unalienable right of anyone like living here is if our government is like not representing us properly, we have a right to a revolution. And so revolutionary communists say, sounds great to me. Obviously, the Constitution is not a document that I'm totally in love with or anything. But even by their standards, it's definitely time for a change.
Happy birthday, America. 250 years. Time to change the diaper already.
It is. It's time. The diaper stinks.
True. Well, let's go on with some of the quick icebreakers. Why don't you just introduce yourself? Tell us who you are and what you do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm Jasper. I do work with the Revolutionary Communists of America. We're part of an international. And I'm actually currently looking to move to LA to try and help our comrades up there build some more. There's like a lot of demand for socialist ideas, and we just need more comrades up there to help consolidate that demand. And so I'm really excited to help out with that. I love to draw. I adore music. I'm transmasculine and polyamorous. These are all things I love about myself.
Yeah, that's really cool. So within your particular field, whether it's with your art that you produce or inside the RCA itself, what is your experience with the LGBT community?
Well, there's obviously a lot of overlap, whether it be like with artists or with communists. There do happen to be a lot of like queer people in both of those communities, and there's a lot of like overlap between those communities. And so, I mean, my experience has been really joyous. The more that I've like gotten to know more artists in my area, honestly, I've been more inclined toward politics, but that too. Attending like any of the bigger events we have, because working with the Inland Empire communists in Riverside, we're a little bit more isolated, but every time we get to link up with our LA comrades, every time we have a regional school or a congress or like a day school somewhere else, it's so nice to not be the only queer person in the room. That's like far from the situation. And so, I mean, in my childhood, I definitely like felt pretty isolated. I grew up in Menifee, not like a huge queer community out there. But yeah, I mean, it's just been an experience of joy, like coming out and coming into my identity and learning more about Marxism, making more art that like I really connect with. Yeah, it's been a beautiful time.
Great. So how do you feel that the LGBT community is represented within the RCA?
Any marginalized group of people is going to be like more inclined to draw revolutionary conclusions because, I mean, our position in society, like, our poverty essentially ends up being like aggravated by our position in that marginalized community. It's why, I mean, Black people have been among the most progressive group of people, sort of historically, period. And so this, obviously these things are different, but it extends in this way. People who have experienced life like in the margins, or have like had to exist outside of the mold in one way or another, or chosen that with joy many times. A lot of these other structures start to kind of melt away. It's why I think there's also a huge overlap with like neurodivergence, and communist politics. We sort of like think of things in like a little bit of a different way, and have been forced by our circumstances to do so. And it ends up being a fabulous thing.
Yeah. Why do you think so many queer and as you put it, neurodivergent people and other marginalized groups are attracted to socialism in particular?
I mean, it means our liberation, ultimately. Um, every marginalized group of people, whether that be queer people, women, non-white people, indigenous people, what have you. Uh, Ultimately, we all do have very different experiences, of course. And also when we like, draw that line to like how we can liberate ourselves, we always come up against that same ruling class. I mean, liberation for women means abolishing class. The origin of women's oppression was the origin of class society. And this has like veins in even immediately like the liberation of queer people. But the issues that we face in our community, we're talking about like police violence and oppression. We're talking about like a lack of medical care, access to medical care, being unhoused, like being in poverty. These are the biggest issues that are facing queer people today and other marginalized groups. When we look to how we can solve this problem and how we can like understand our situations so that we can, it leads so many people to this conclusion. There is a very small percentage of people, there's like 1,000 people that hold an immense, unreasonable amount of wealth at the expense of everyone else on earth who is producing that wealth. It's an injustice that's unignorable.
Yeah, I believe Elon Musk himself, first trillionaire in the world rather, has more wealth in his own pocket than like half of America.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. This is one person, and that money isn't going back into the economy. It's not helping people, and ultimately, I mean, we could get more into it. Maybe at another point. I don't want to, go off on too much of a tangent, but um, obviously this is something that like can't be sustained. It isn't just that like it's immoral and it's wrong. Of course it is. Like for us to be exploited at this level. I mean, to just look at that, to sit with the reality of one person like Elon Musk holding all of that wealth, while most people in the United States are living paycheck to paycheck, immediately is disgusting. And I mean, that is the kind of thing that like draws people in initially. You don't have to study Marxism necessarily in order to recognize these contradictions. It's apparent for so many people.
Yeah, it's what essentially radicalizes individuals, as people like to put it. But let's get back on track. In your particular opinion, what are your thoughts on the LGBT community as a whole?
I mean, I love the LGBT community. I'm part of it. Yeah. I'm a non-binary lesbian. Um, I mean, I love my found family, you know, and that really is how I feel about it. I have, real and true family. Honestly, I can't find like a better way to put it, that I've found in the community. Uh, I definitely feel like I found a place where I feel seen, and it's a special thing. Coming out of Pride Month, I'm always looking for opportunities to like gather, get in person with each other, and talk. Like maintaining my relationships with my queer friends is beautiful. I hesitate to like use the word community, just knowing like due to our conditions, it's so hard to make that happen. Just to like spend time with my family in person, in real life, to make the time for it and to set the money aside for it is such an immense difficulty for us that, it limits our connection and our humanity. Not to be pessimistic, but just to be real about the situation. I wish that I had more time and resources to spend with my people because I love them so, so much, so immensely, Um, yeah, I feel seen in a way that is, almost unmatched.
All right, so now we're going to talk about your particular involvement with the RCA and communism in general. Can you please introduce the RCA and what this organization works to achieve?
Yeah. Well, the RCA, Revolutionary Communists of America, I think I said it a second ago, but we're part of an international. This is just our US section. We're a Marxist organization of professional revolutionaries. We're building a class independent party for the liberation of the working class. We examine history through a Marxist lens, study Marxism thoroughly, because we understand that with everything going on nowadays, it's pretty unignorable that things are bad and getting worse. And as more and more people come to the conclusion that we do need a revolution in the United States and around the world, we need a strong system of cadre, people who can explain these ideas really quickly and concisely, and train people up to help in the revolution.
All right, cool. So, what sets the RCA apart from other communist organizations?
The RCA, we follow in the footsteps of the Bolsheviks before us. We're an organization with immense theoretical clarity, a strict adherence to Marxism and the philosophy of Marxism. There is an ideological unity also in our party that is unmatched, I would say. If you ask me a question, or ask like a comrade of mine a question, of course we're going to have like different ways of explaining things, and we're individual people. But there is that core connection to Marxism. We're very dedicated to our active party builders to like making this work our priority in life. And so there's a beautiful level of like professionalism and that comes from that dedication. It's that I think is really beautiful, and it's something that brought me to the party.
Really cool. And speaking of you and yourself, I know you kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier, but to go off of that, what drew you in particular to communism?
Growing up in poverty, it was not the worst it could have been, but my family definitely struggled with money. My parents did their best. And also, it was unignorable to me the fact that both of my parents were working full time and working very hard at jobs that, like, they were skilled at. My mom, went to school for a period of time, and my dad had been, in his career for, a really good amount of time. We're talking like over a decade, and they were struggling just to support the four of us, them, my brother, and I. And this obviously like sows the seeds of like recognizing those contradictions. But what really drew me to communism, I have to say, Bernie Sanders in 2016, that was something that really captured my attention, all of the media attention around him. That was the first time that I really came to understand like some approximation of socialism, maybe something closer to like democratic socialism. Um, and it just made sense to me, you know? Why is something as arbitrary as money keeping us from providing for average people? Wouldn't it make society better if all of us had our needs met and we didn't have to fight to survive?
Yeah.
There's this idea that there's a scarcity, and there is a manufactured scarcity under capitalism, but coming to find out about that 1% that Bernie Sanders was talking about, that was huge for me. Yeah. So while I don't identify with his politics currently, I definitely have moved further left than him. That's kind of what like pushed things for me, kind of got me started. I read the Communist Manifesto the first time when I was like 16 or 17. Um, I didn't really understand it the first time that I read it. I got some of the big principles though. I couldn't really repeat them to somebody if I were asked not well. But it all, surface level, it really just made sense to me. I kind of learned more here and there online, and then 2020 was another like massive push for me. Um, Obviously, with all of the police violence that happened around that time, the George Floyd
Yeah.
protests, the BLM movement. Um, I mean, really, that was a true mass movement. I remember seeing people protesting as I was walking by on a city street, and I thought to myself, I should be standing with them. Um, I agree with them. I didn't really know how to get started. Uh, like, there was still time and development that needed to be had. But then I ended up identifying as a communist that year. I was just learning more about politics. I mean, it's so interesting to reflect, because historically this is kind of like how things go. Mass movements like that and big events, like that's what moves the consciousness of the masses. And I was part of that. Um, and then I knew that I wanted to get organized from then. I knew that I wanted to do something with the Palestine encampments. That was another like huge moment. And around that time, I met my comrade and now partner Koa. We met on Bubble BFF, and they were organized with the RCA. Yeah, and slowly over time, like learning more and more about, their specific politics and the work that they were doing. Uh, I gained more confidence. I learned more about communism just by talking to them, and starting to read a little bit more. And I realized like this was I've been saying unignorable a lot, but it was something that I couldn't look away from. I needed to get organized. So yeah, that's how I came to it.
Yeah, that's really cool. To bring it back to a lighter note, something that you can do if you read the Communist Manifesto is take a drink every time he says bourgeoisie. Don't actually do
Yeah,
that.
it
He
might
says
be.
it
It might
hundreds of
be.
times.
It really does. Take it easy. Get something with a low ABV if if you're gonna go for that for sure. Uh,
So, what kind of individuals is the RCA looking to recruit?
well, all sorts of people, honestly. We
Hmm.
do have we have two tiers of commitment basically to the party. There are plenty of sustainers, people who buy our paper and like maybe engage with the work. Like occasionally, it could be like anywhere from not really attending activity and much just reading the paper to all the way up to like being active but not being able to like make the weekly meetings, and really like make that commitment of being like a professional revolutionary, having that be like your priority. For a lot of people, it is their priority, but they have to like arrange some other things in their life to make that happen. So there's like a big net there for like anyone who's interested in what our party has to say, wants to like read our paper. It's really great. It's written only by members of the working class for members of the working class, and cuts through all of that bullshit and the bourgeois media. And so we have our sustainers, and then we also do have like active party builders such as myself, who come out to weekly meetings. We talk about like the weekly activity that we're going to be doing, current events. We're committed to like studying theory on a regular basis so that we can get as good as possible at like understanding these ideas and communicating Marxist ideas. Showing up to protests, showing up to tabling, paper sales, like whenever possible, just so that we can make our mark in the community, show solidarity with other people as much as possible, um, and also build the party.
Oh, that's great. So I'm sure that the RCA is trying to their best to recruit individuals who are not only interested in taking up the readings and ideologies of communism, but specifically like the willing and educated individuals.
Yes, I'm sorry, I got a little lost from your original question, but yeah, I mean, well, I kind of I was gonna like start off with that and then build on it. Here, let me do that.
Mhm.
So I mean, it could be like anywhere from somebody who, like just wants to know more about socialism and they could like be a sustainer of ours, or we're looking for people that like, I mean, honestly, people that are actively organized. We want them to be ready to make like a time commitment and a commitment to like growing responsibility, like taking ownership of the party, and doing everything they can to help us build toward a successful revolution. Yeah.
Right. However, there is some sort of small caveat to this if you are targeting the educated. Right now, American intelligence is seeing an overall cognitive decline. A study done in 2023 that examined cognitive ability scores of around 400,000 US adults found that between 2003 and 2018, intelligence gradually dropped each year, especially in verbal reasoning, visual problem solving, and mathematical abilities. This study showcased proof of what is being called the reversed Flynn effect, noting the impact of the internet and social media on the collective conscious. And now, with the influx of artificial intelligence and the current administration wanting to shrink the National Intelligence Office, these numbers are anticipated to decline faster. With all of this being said, what is the RCA's plan of action for uneducated or poorly educated individuals across the US?
That's a great point. I mean, even if we're just talking about like reading comprehension, and what's the word I'm looking for? Attention span. It's a massive issue, honestly. Even with people who are like, able to like read well, and have like a basic like education that like they can carry well, who are very interested in joining and interested in studying. Even a lot of people who are in that position, myself included, struggle like with the current situation that we're in. Our attention spans are being stolen truly by these billionaires who run ad platforms that we call social media. And it can be difficult even when I logically and emotionally connect with my motives and really do want to do the work. There's a barrier. There's a barrier there, like for a lot of our comrades. And having each other, having like the structure of having a cell of people where, first of all, we like try to keep the reading limited to something that's reasonable for all the comrades in the group, like in a given cell. For us, we usually keep our reading to about like 20 minutes, 20 minutes a week. And it's more about building ourselves up to like becoming that professional cadre. There are very, very few people who join the party and they love reading theory. They can do it on a regular basis and lock in and understand it well, understand the ideas well, and articulate it well, like right off the bat. Really, this is like, at this point in our development, a training ground. We're trying to like raise that level for really everybody in the party and build ourselves up, and that includes these barriers. The barriers of like reading comprehension and attention, and like ability to connect with the information and repeat it. I guess that's connected to comprehension. It's like, I mean, none of us are on our own though. That's really like one of the most beautiful things about having a structure where we're showing up in person, at least once a week, oftentimes more than that, if we're making other activity. And we've got other comrades of like a higher political level to be there with us, hold our hand, and they're learning along with us at the same time and also helping us along the way. In the RCA, the RCI, we really do, with new recruits, for like active party builders, try to take on like a mentorship, like a mentorship type relationship. It's something that is necessary for what we're trying to build. And it helps with this sort of thing. A lot of times, like the practical becomes politicized when you're part of a party like this. I mean, it is. What before might have been something that maybe like got in the way a little bit here and there can become a really massive glaring issue when we have a new giant goal in front of us, and that's to become a revolutionary. And so sometimes like that help and that mentorship looks like offering practical advice and like emotional support, being like a friend, keeping like that professional relationship, obviously, but also like helping people along in this way. If somebody is at a point where they're not able to like handle the workload of like that reading for the weekly meetings and like keeping up with reading the paper and stuff, then it's totally okay that maybe they like step back to like another tier of support, or they take a break from the party for a little bit if that's what's going to be best for them. But really, we want to be like helping people along in this as much as possible. If somebody is like close to being there, we want to help them along. I don't want to be too long-winded on this, but it reminds me of an anecdote. A comrade of mine, Nick, who I'm sure he doesn't mind me saying, he like talks about this all the time. Like on the area committee with me for the Inland Empire section of the RCA, he talks about how when he first joined, he could not read for 5 minutes straight without losing his attention, getting totally distracted. I have ADHD. A lot of my comrades have ADHD. We've talked about, there's a big overlap with neurodivergence. And there isn't, for a lot of people, this is a really difficult thing. But we just meet people where they're at. If reading for 5 minutes is something that isn't possible right now, let's try for 2. And once we can like get that done, it's really about building the habit of doing it every day and like going from there, And again, you're never alone. We've got comrades to help us understand the information and help us learn how to study.
That's great. That's great that you offer like mentorship for individuals who might struggle with some of the readings and everything. It's like you're each one teaching one in a sense. I guess that is very socialist of you guys.
Yeah, we don't want to leave anybody behind that is willing and able to help.
That's great. That's great. So let's flip the script a little bit. I'm going to talk a little bit more. So I don't have to tell you that the current American administration has it out for all marginalized individuals. That's an aspect that's been systematically ingrained in oppressive regimes. One major concerning matter that has exacerbated the cost of dissent and spread of targeted discrimination is a particular memorandum that I'm sure you already know which one I'm referring to. One of the most heinous pieces of governmental subjugation in recent years that I have ever had the displeasure of reading myself. The NSPM 7, which can be found on the White House's website, really easily accessible to like everyone for them to read. This directs the National Joint Terrorism Task Force to target anti-fascist, socialist, and queer movements, calling citizens within these movements domestic terrorists and anti-American. The memorandum calls out specifically disenfranchised individuals, calling them race and gender extremists. When pieces of discriminatory documents are proposed by authorities such as this memorandum, is there any wonder why we're seeing such a huge resurgence in American socialism?
I mean, that's a great point. No, I mean, this definitely is part of it. And this is why when this sort of thing comes out, or even is passed, our latest repressive moment in the media, that is honestly, this is meant to terrify us, obviously, right? This is meant to keep people from getting organized. And if they were not afraid of what we could do when we link arms in solidarity and help one another as the working class, they wouldn't care about any of this. They wouldn't say any of this, right? And so that's an amazing point. I mean, this sort of thing only propels people further into the conclusions that we're already drawing. The state is, something that doesn't stand alone away from, the working class and the ruling class and sort of dole out judgment in a neutral manner. This is something that's absurd to even say that this is a thought for anyone is becoming more and more laughable. So many people, regardless of their political alignment or affiliation, can see that this is repressive. And I mean, this is one of the reasons why like people are being pushed further into socialism and getting closer with these ideas. And again, it's why I'm not so afraid. This is I always think of how, Donald Trump in particular has been pretty fond of threatening to send in the National Guard. Uh, in, yeah, and this is something that a lot of people are afraid of. Um, I don't want to be dismissive of that because it's a terrifying thought, and we know that like these people in the state, police officers and people affiliated with the government on any level, have been violent, murderous, and beyond oppressive for as long as we can remember. And also, we have to remember there's a reason why the Democrats are always advising against threatening even to send in the National Guard when people are out on the streets. There's a mass movement or a large protest. It's because it's immensely unpopular. And there's an issue with doing something that is immensely unpopular. People get angry and they come out into the streets more. People who are part of the National Guard or, even police officers, right? While we can recognize that these people's position in society is one that is overtly oppressive and violent, we can also understand that for many of these agents of the state, they come into this line of work with an ideology that justifies what they're doing. They don't go into what they're doing thinking, oh, I can't wait to go oppress my family and friends and community, especially like the National Guard, they go in thinking like, oh, I'm protecting the whole United States. That's my job. And when they are expressly sent to oppress their neighbors and communities, that's something that historically is beyond unpopular. It's ineffective and it can escalate things. It does escalate things even further. And so this sort of thing, I see it in a similar way. The more that they push and they say, we need to, crack down on this terrorism. People aren't stupid,
Right.
And the majority of people, like especially people like 18 to 24, what is it, 64% of people in that age group identify as socialists or align with socialist ideas. Yeah, it's a lot of people. And so this sort of thing is, we have to remember when something like this is unpopular, it's also a big flashing red weak point for the ruling class. And they're really digging their own graves with this.
Yeah, exactly. I think America's always been driven by fear first and foremost. To control American citizens or like the global populace even. And the thing that about fear is like we can't let it control us, because if you let it take over you, it is a very easily controllable and manipulative thing for the government to have over you. Fear can lead to anger, and anger is also easy to control. So the thing that we as Americans need to be is brave. There is a reason why in the Pledge of Allegiance, or whichever song that is, I guess it's the Pledge of Allegiance, they say the land of the free and followed by the home of the brave. We have to be brave in order to combat any kind of repressive regime, because that's what makes us America first and foremost.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think it's the national anthem.
Yeah, that's
I know what you're saying. It is,
some 4th of July this is.
It's clearly a contradiction even to people who are like patriotic,
Right.
This kind of oppression. And yeah, fear is a tool that's used to control people. It's really sad to see to hear so many people like approach myself and my comrades when we're at a protest or a demonstration and be afraid to sometimes even have a conversation with us in public. We say, we understand completely where these feelings are coming from. And we can validate that, and we have to, and also recognize we're in position where myself and my comrades can be out in public in downtown Riverside or at a campus, and our comrades all over the United States can do this, have a table up with a big hammer and sickle on it, and be selling communist papers and having conversations with people about revolutionary communist ideas. And we need to take advantage of that for as long as we can. This is really all we can. We have so many comrades in other countries that are not existing under those same conditions. And while we can obviously recognize like the weight of the anxiety and fear that is like scooped onto us bit by bit until it's almost hard to tell how heavy it is, it is massively heavy.
Right.
And also recognize like we can bear this weight if we can, straighten our backs and work together. We can push back and do something amazing here. Really liberate ourselves.
100%. Once dissent is completely wiped out, we have completely lost. So we must, as people, continue to bring up dissent. If we don't like something, we gotta say it. So let's go back to the point in the matter of the questions. Go back to the questions. For queer and other marginalized groups, what does socialism seek to provide that capitalism has failed?
I mean, meeting our basic needs, honestly. Meeting our basic needs. We all need housing, food, transportation to and from work, and also to and from like recreation and our friends' homes and other areas of our communities. Obviously, we have more than enough wealth to go around. It's just a matter of who is deciding how we distribute that wealth. Instead of having a very small handful of ultra rich people dictate where that goes, we need an actually democratically run society where we have like workers' committees down to the workplace. That democracy scales, and it scales all the way up to like our government. This is how we can move from socialism, a society where we still do use money to exchange things, to communism, a society where we will no longer need money. We just have like a democratic structure for distributing things. And we can all collectively decide on this. When we live in a world under socialism where our politicians don't make more than an average skilled worker ever, they will be incentivized to actually represent us. No lobbying will be allowed. This bribery is ridiculous and absurd. And it's almost unbelievable to see just how undemocratic our government has become. We have like actual democracy. That's like the truest representation that we could possibly have. Along with that, our politicians need to be immediately callable by the bodies of people that elected them. Again, this is what we need in order to like actually be represented truly. Furthermore, like culture has suffered so greatly, and we have lost truly like community. I was saying earlier, I hesitate to say the queer community because my heart aches when I hear that word. The fact that it feels almost silly to say because I'm always saying it and the people around me are always saying it, but we don't have any places to go other than work or home where we don't have to spend money, and this is like it's ridiculous. I can't even like spend time at a park with a friend past sunset without being harassed by security officers. It really just is a constant reminder of the fact that this is dystopian. This is inhumane, the world that we're living in. And we can flourish so much as a community. I mean, queer people, we're creative people, typically, we're like tapped into that beautiful, colorful like way of living. And I just think of all of my wonderful, beautiful queer friends and family who will be able to flourish fully, will be able to actually pursue things that they're passionate about because they're not fighting constantly just to get their next meal and keep a roof over their head, And so there will also be like a massive cultural flourishing when all of our needs are met, and we have true democracy in the United States and internationally. It'll be completely unprecedented.
Right. So with that in mind, how can we be certain that within a socialist system that is being proposed, that LGBT individuals could exist in a far more accepting environment.
If we look at the history of revolutionary movements, what we can see too is not only will the end goal bring our liberation, but in the process of each marginalized group like linking arms with the masses, like as a class, as the working class, we come face to face with the most massive contradiction when it comes to bigotry in any form, which is, like Marx said, an injury to one is an injury to all. An injury to one member of the working class, that is an injury to all of us. And for me to not support my fellow worker due to, something like their identity, their like ethnicity or sexuality or gender, this is something that becomes immediately obvious as counter-revolutionary. It's something that is not only holding back this individual that maybe I have a bigoted opinion about, but it's holding back me. It's holding back my family and my friends that I'm connected with. And so even for, people who maybe still like carry a lot of that bigotry, first of all, like working together with people is one of the best ways to like get past this bullshit and realize how connected we are, to humanize another person, you know? And then also we can realize, like, through this work, the liberation of one of us is the liberation of all of us, and we cannot have one without the other. We need each other, and this will carry into our future society under socialism. I mean, first of all, already, but people's consciousness on these matters is like progressing forward. Something that kind of like attempts to take us back and definitely like creates a lot of these scary fringe groups of bigoted people, is this culture war stuff that's being pushed in our media. And it's being pushed for the express reason, like with the purpose of dividing the working class. If they can take something like our terrible economic situation right now and find a way to blame it on immigrants or trans people, that's exactly what they're going to do. And it's what they've been doing. If you ask the average person who, wants stronger border control, even pro-ICE, why they hold those opinions, most times it's connected to like these class ideas, these economic ideas, and we can see it being pushed by the right. This is also like being aggravated by left-wing media, though, by bourgeois, like democratic, liberal media as well. These two arms of the ruling class create like caricatures of each other. They say, oh, those people on that side are idiot, inhuman animals who have blue hair and pronouns and like aren't serious people. And this side of people says, those people over there are idiots and racist hicks, and all they care about is hatred. And there definitely are extremely racist Republicans and conservatives that are at a point where, there really is like no convincing them to come around. But also rather, there is always an ideology behind the bigotry. And through achieving our collective liberation, it will expose the fact that the bourgeois media is doing this. They're pitting us against each other. And with that comes the progress of ideas. As Marxists, we're dialectical materialists. Really briefly, so I don't just breeze past that. Materialism is to say, like, believing that matter comes before ideas. Our ideas are influenced by our material conditions. And that isn't to say our economic conditions. It's to say, like, literally the matter surrounding us, the world that we exist in. It also includes our economic conditions, right, as part of that. But basically, there is not a spirit in each of us that is like good or bad. It is like an atheistic ideology, Marxism. And the dialectical part of dialectical materialism, that's the science of change. We can zoom out, and when it comes to class society, say, hey, wait a minute, we have not always done capitalism. This has not been the way that things have been forever. We've actually had like several different phases of society, and several different ways that we've run things. And it seems that this is sort of like constantly changing. In fact, everything around us is constantly changing. The atoms in us are like always moving. Um, this sort of thing. So these things both combined create the core philosophy of Marxism, dialectical materialism. Um, all of this is to say, we can recognize, therefore, as Marxists, that these ideas are arising, like these bigoted ideas are arising and being enabled and being fed into for a reason. And that is like coming from somewhere. It isn't that people just emerged with this idea that like trans people are a massive threat to our children out of nowhere, um, being queer in general, being trans, this is something that threatens class society because it threatens the family structure. If we are not going to have like one man and one woman get together and make babies together, produce more workers for capitalists to exploit, that inherently then, our existence then inherently threatens that system. It's a massive issue, the fact that people are not having children like they used to have them. It's why Roe v. Wade was overturned. It's why the Democrats did not codify Roe v. Wade into law to begin with, because they're just another arm of this machine. So I don't want to go on for too long here. I'll leave my answer there.
No, it's great. I'm glad that you talked about this supposed culture war that I think is absolutely ridiculous, because if you didn't say it, I was going to say it.
Yeah.
But let's move on a little bit back to socialism in general. So the RCA's primary objective is the outcome of an eventual global revolution within the current members' lifetimes. As you told me that you wanted to see that within our lifetimes when we met for that gathering on Sunday during Stonewall. So do you believe that's an accurate description of RCA's overall intentions?
I mean, yeah, we want socialist revolution as soon as possible. We know that we need socialist revolution as soon as possible, at least for us in the United States. I really do believe, like, with our current conditions, with the economic strength of our workforce here in the United States, there is an amazing chance for us to achieve at least, that socialist revolution here within our lifetime. That is our ultimate goal, is to honestly serve as revolutionary leadership for the masses, not to substitute the masses in that pursuit of revolution. History shows us that people typically like spontaneously will take to the streets and organize for demonstrations and even pursue revolution. We just want to be there by their sides, having shown time and time again that we are dedicated to this, that we are like true Marxists. And when they're ready to ask us, okay, how can we sustain this and make this something that that can truly liberate us all and stick, that we're there to say, okay, I've studied Marxism for a good amount of time. I've got my comrades with me that have helped me in this, and we want to help you. Here's how we can like take this a step further. An example that I like to use about this is like during the Minnesota general strike, the de facto general strike that happened in Minnesota over the ICE terror that was happening even over here, like in LA and in the IE. This has obviously been a massive issue in the United States that has only gotten worse over the past, decade, and even further than that. We had an anecdote in our paper from a comrade who was speaking to a worker at like a restaurant, like I think like a takeout restaurant, and they were speaking to them about what was going on with the ICE raids. the employee at the restaurant talked with our comrade about how they had developed a plan to like communicate with one another, the employees that worked in this one establishment, if ICE were to come and raid their workplace. Our comrade connected with them, obviously like expressed solidarity, because of course this is like a noble pursuit, and it's what we would do, and if we were like in their shoes. And then also we want to like help take it a step further and say, have you thought about maybe like linking up this struggle with other businesses in your vicinity? We're a lot stronger when we have like more people behind us. And this was like advice that this person was ready and willing to take. This is the kind of like leadership that I mean. That's what we really want to provide with the RCA.
Right. So with this revolutionary outcome, do you believe that violence is necessary to achieve proper revolution, or can there be a peaceful resolution for all the wrongs in the world, essentially?
Well, the fight when it comes to socialist revolution mainly is an economic fight. If we can collectively withhold our labor, build a structure that can sustain something like a real general strike, like internationally in the United States, starting smaller than that, but building up to something like that. That really is, that's really what's going to move us forward massively here. It's what raises solidarity with other people in the working class. It shows our power, and raises confidence in people for us to achieve our political aims when we work together as a class, as opposed to, for example, like exclusively relying on electoral politics. And so this really is like, that's going to be the majority of the fight. Also, history shows us capitalists do not often want to like peacefully be expropriated, give up all of their money and property, or even like a reasonable portion of it, and allow it to be socially run. And so while we recognize, the revolution of 1917 in Russia was like pretty peaceful, all things said and done, not like completely peaceful. Obviously in the RCA, like we don't advocate for like any individual acts of terror, and we're focused on like building our party and like defending ourselves and our party. Like especially at this stage in development, we're pretty early on, and the fight overall will be mainly economic. And also, we cannot ignore like history. We can't ignore our current conditions. And I think I'll leave it at that.
Right. So do you believe that these supposed ends justify their means?
I really do. I mean, really, if capitalists will be willing to, go be a normal worker, instead of like, owning the majority of wealth in the world, then that would be phenomenal. And honestly, firstly, our goals in my international, and specifically actually for the RCA, are to expropriate the Fortune 500 monopolies. And we could do this by just like having the workers claim the means of production. Truly, I mean, at this point, occupying like a workplace, or at that point rather, occupying a workplace, refusing to leave, refusing to like surrender the tools that you use to produce things, and refusing to labor for a capitalist. This is really like, this is what the fight is going to look like. And once we have expropriated those Fortune 500 monopolies, workers will democratically like have our hands on the levers of the entire economy in the United States. And really there will be like massive financial and social incentives for join the planned economy. Ultimately, when we think about like violence, talk about violence, to think about like sit with the reality of the violence that capitalism enacts on us every single day. I mean, take even just like the genocide that has been happening in Palestine with the support of our tax dollars with no consent from the American people. This is not something that the majority of people in the United States have agreed to. And billions of dollars have been sent to Israel in order to support like these imperialist pursuits, which ultimately, you know, this is for the benefit of the United States capitalists, the ruling class in the U.S. Obviously, you know, I just want to briefly say, like, Israel is not dog walking the U.S. It's the other way around. Now, obviously, there's complicated conflict there, but that, if you look at, you know, the $100 billion that's been spent on this war with Iran, not even considering like the reparations that are going to have to be paid from the working class. By the way, this is austerity on the working class. I mean, this is the real violence here. This is untold barbarism that we're seeing in our streets with these ICE agents, you know, and not obviously not protecting our communities, doing anything but. They're terrorizing us and literally murdering and disappearing our neighbors. I mean, you know, if we add up all of the casualties and the violence that capitalism has enacted on people, I mean, historically and even in the last like couple years, it's incalculably high. It's ridiculous. I mean, slavery being legal in the United States for the purpose of sustaining this system. You know, slavery is still legal, just only for incarcerated individuals.
Yeah.
And this is something that, you know, the state and capitalists are becoming more and more brazen about, is addressing the reality of this situation. Well, you know, we need the labor is essentially what they're saying about this at this point. It's violence on a level that, you know, absolutely cannot abide. And the violence of, you know, withholding our labor from these people who have been exploiting and murdering us for, you know, at a time, destroying like community completely for us. I mean, if we just think about like the poverty, war, the lack of access to healthcare, all of these threads combined, it's ridiculous to think that like that this revolution is something that could even be compared to the violence of capitalism in like any way. And so, you know, yeah, I think absolutely, especially when our means for achieving revolution are mainly economic. And when we want the majority of people in society to like agree to this before it happens, and we should only have socialism as long as it is what the majority of people here want, and the majority of people internationally like would like to pursue. You know, I think this will save so many lives. I couldn't even tell you.
Yeah, that's very, very well put. All of it. I don't really have much to add to that, honestly. You spoke just the truth. I mean, it is kind of ironic that like all this violence and hatred is happening with like the war and everything, and like within people of our own country, our own citizens. Yet when one of us retaliates, allegedly, and murdering a CEO, they do the hardest time, and like they are called a terrorist for like standing up to what they believe in. We are seeing like people retaliate, individuals retaliating, the burnings of warehouses, the targeting billionaires and everything. We're seeing some of these things happen, but is this what starts the revolution? Are we already here?
I definitely think that these things are sort of like signs of the times, right? Luigi Mangione, for example, you like invoked him. He's
Allegedly.
been all but
It's
yeah,
all
he's been,
allegedly.
of course, it's all alleged. He has been all but completely emancipated in the court of public opinion. As soon as that story broke, there were people in the comment section of Ben Shapiro telling him, I don't know, man, you've kind of got this wrong. There are people of all sorts of political affiliations that connect with this. Everybody knows somebody, or at the very least knows somebody who has suffered at the hand of the privatized healthcare system in the United States.
Yeah.
It's something that is so obviously wrong and blatantly greedy and disgusting that everybody can connect with this. And I think that's what these acts of direct action, individual terror, show. They show the rising anger and discontent in people, the fact that this cannot abide for long. Um, and also, the reality of these acts is that unfortunately they're ineffective. When one person, like Luigi, allegedly kills a healthcare CEO, yes, it breaks the news, and this is something massive that a lot of people are talking about. But this kind of draws me back to that point on the philosophy of dialectical materialism earlier. We have to recognize that the fact that people are agreeing with this sort of like shows that existing sentiment. Somebody committing an act like this does not create that sentiment. It doesn't create that solidarity out of thin air, you know? Um, so many people can like look at these warehouse fires and think of it a time where we've been at work and just wanted to like throw in the towel and walk out because our workplaces are just as undemocratic as our government is, and so many of us are like, I don't know. We're existing in this culture. We have to exist in this culture of like being mistreated and unheard, and oppressed, and in the situation of like somebody who like is not receiving the healthcare they need because they cannot afford it. That's violence. This is something that's killing people. And so while obviously like this sentiment is something that I really connect with. And I can really sympathize with as a fellow worker who is outraged and done with this. Also, Luigi doing that, for example, allegedly, yeah, that didn't bring us single payer healthcare, and even if we think, maybe for a moment, maybe this could like move people's consciousness. It's the other way around. These actions are a reflection of that consciousness. And if these people like setting these fires and committing these acts of individual terror were to get organized, they could do so much more, while not being incarcerated or dead. Also, this sort of thing inadvertently creates this perception of like activism or like getting organized that isolates people, and it keeps them from getting involved, joining a reading group, like learning more about socialism. Average people, a lot of people sort of lump in all activism, quote unquote, together in like one big pile. They think that like, acts like this and like protesting, or like getting organized with the RCA, for example, like all of these things are sort of like one and the same or connected. A lot of people think this way. And so they sort of draw this conclusion, therefore, many times of, I'm not that guy. I'm not this person. I'm not ready to face off head to head with the state. I'm not ready to 3D print a gun and kill somebody, And listen, I'm not that guy either. I'm definitely not that guy. It's this false idea that like this is what revolutionaries want is damaging to the movement, honestly, ultimately, and it demoralizes people, and sort of like this idea that like one person can substitute themselves for the masses working together. This is an idea that is counterproductive. I mean, not even to mention, again, the fact that they're put away now, or, sometimes people who commit these acts, end up dead. I think of like, Aaron Bushnell. Like, I remember reading that story and crying. This is something that obviously like so many of us can connect with. And it's sad to see, honestly, to see this sort of symptom, of our situation. But it is a symptom. And the revolution looks like the masses organizing as like one force, as one class together. And saying, if these billionaires only care about one thing and it's money, let's hit them where it hurts and let's withhold our labor. Ultimately, this will mean our liberation, like as soon as humanly possible.
Right. I believe like us coming together as one unit will lead to an eventual betterment, I assume. We gotta stop looking at it us versus them scenario. We're all human beings and we all can come together and make a better world for the future. We need to find people who are willing to do that and open to do that. So like with the RCA and other socialist organizations, I know that they have different kind of outcomes or different ways of reaching certain conclusions. So they don't always get along. However, I did invite you to a party this last weekend, and there was someone there from the DSA, a completely different chapter, but still socialist too. And you two seem to hit it off really well. Am I right to say that?
Yeah, definitely. I would like push back on the point where it's like I don't know if you said we butt heads. I mean, maybe. But honestly, I think like our comrades always strive to be. I know that our comrades always strive to like connect with these people who are ultimately like pursuing like the same fight a lot of times. There are people in like DSA, for example, that like definitely are not like for a revolution. For example, I would say like we definitely have different goals there, and like you said, a lot of times like we have different methods for achieving those goals. And so this is why we are not like all part of the same big party. We would be if we totally aligned on all of that stuff. And also, anytime there's somebody who like, cares about socialism, cares about politics, honestly, I'm there and I love talking politics. I love talking communism. And ultimately, anybody who is willing to assist in like our pursuit of revolution is a comrade to me.
Absolutely. So, with this idea in mind, can socialists of varying political philosophies work in unison?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, it sort of depends on like what we're doing. I mean, I would say like I work in unison with people in a way when I like show up to a demonstration. People of like all different organizations and even people who are like completely independent. We can absolutely like show up for each other in solidarity. Always, we need to like ultimately link up these struggles that have become fractured and isolated because we of course need to link them up, and we can achieve so much more when we do. It really just gets down to like for the RCA and for our entire international, we do have to like draw the line at class collaboration. What that means ultimately is like working with capitalists. Obviously, like compromises need to be made in the pursuit of revolution, and also, class consciousness really isn't just understanding that there are different classes and we are part of the working class and there is like the bourgeoisie and there are other classes as well, petite bourgeois, etc. Class consciousness is understanding that the desires and needs of the working class completely are in opposition to the desires and needs of the ruling class, the capitalists. And therefore, there can be no collaborating with capitalists for our liberation. There can be no, writing up a contract to like a metaphorical contract to like keep capitalism as an institution the way that it is, and also just like try and win us minor reforms. Because, I mean, historically, first of all, that is not how reforms are won. Reforms historically, mass ones, really significant ones that have not been lost are one with mass action. And so we say, the way for us to get socialism is the same way that we can like win these reforms. It's by organizing and working together. Uh, and so, of course, like, again, we're willing to like work side by side with anybody who is there with us and is working toward that same goal.
It is great because like all these organizations, they're essentially working for the same thing, which is the downfall of capitalism. So could you ever see like a possible compromise amongst differing socialist organizations in that respect?
If an organization is willing to like pursue revolution, and is willing to, not collaborate with capitalists, and, is like another organization of Marxists, essentially, or like a section of an organization that are Marxists that want to work with us, that's great. We're totally open to collaboration down the line. Also, I do want to say, that thing that like separates us, like as it stands right now, is that like people who seek to reform capitalism, like just sort of like soften the sharp edges of capitalism and like maintain that oppressive structure. We cannot pursue that. That is like a separate pursuit, and anybody who is, in pursuit of socialist revolution, I'm sure that like, collaboration will happen down the line. I mean, the Bolsheviks collaborated with people in their pursuit of revolution. And, we always say like compromise is necessary. Capitulation, total surrender, that's something that we can't do. So, of course we need to work with people. We need to work with masses, let alone other organizations of, lots of people who are in pursuit of socialist revolution and eventually communism. Of course, we link arms with our fellow workers.
Right. Cool. So there can be possible collaboration with a few caveats, it seems, but it's good for differing political ideologies to come together like that. Obviously under a socialist umbrella, because I don't want to come off and say that like everyone is like this, but I'm sure there are some certain individuals who take the readings and follow them almost religiously, complete dogmatism to their own, what they believe is their own political philosophy, when in actuality it's just a book that was written by a dude from like 100 years ago or something, It is the same thing with how religious zealots continue to pursue Christian beliefs because it was written and this is how I was raised and everything. When people come together under differing beliefs and actually collaborate and communicate with one another, we can dismantle what is essentially dogmatism. We can dismantle closed-mindedness, and that's how we end up collabing with one another, is by not blindly following this doctrine, but rather keeping an open mind and listening to one another. And that's kind of what the show is about, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it would be like undialectical, I guess, un-Marxist for us to take any piece of theory as dogma. There is like a consistent thread in like observing, I mean, for example, like Karl Marx, for example, like he didn't invent necessarily like dialectical materialism in the same way that like no one invented gravity.
Yeah.
This is like an observable truth. And there's no way for us to talk with one another, have like productive dialogue, and like form a proper synthesis of like the positives and negatives of past revolutionary movements and our work that we're doing today, if we don't talk to one another and if we are not kind to one another.
Yeah, 100%. So one last thing that I kind of wanted to address, and this was actually one of the first questions that I believe that I asked you. But other countries who've adopted communism, in the past, things didn't really turn out that well. We saw it in China, Russia, and other countries as well. I believe the only time like socialism really worked is in very small knit communities. So following the event of a successful revolution, as your organization is wanting to do, how can we be sure that this country doesn't fall quickly to a fascist dictatorship?
Well, first of all, I would say, I don't want to just like police language here, and I want to make it clear, the ideas
Hmm.
here. Uh, there has not been a communist country.
No.
Communism is a system that has to work internationally, just like trade is like global under capitalism, and capitalism needs to work internationally. So does communism, and this is why socialist projects, attempts at like building socialism, have been unsuccessful thus far.
Right.
For one reason or another, material conditions. We like have to take this into account. The material conditions of the United States right now, I mean, this is, last time I checked, the wealthiest nation in the entire country. Russia suffered when they were like at war, and being attacked, honestly, from every angle. They made like amazing advancements in that revolutionary period, um, that were knocked out from under them and taken from them, ultimately, due to like a bureaucratic degeneration that was like connected to I mean, honestly, a lack of economic strength, and a connection to a strong international that could support their pursuits. That is really the key ultimately here. Um, this is why, like, in the United States, the pursuit of socialist revolution is something that is it's very possible for us, like in the near future. Look at a place like Cuba. I mean, look at the embargoes that
Mm.
have been put on them, like the massive oppression that is pressed on these countries by imperialist powers. It's because they seek to sustain that international system of capital. They
Mm.
seek to keep their position in any way that they can, by any means necessary. They have pursued that, and so the only way that we can press up against that force, really have like a powerful enough collection of people, is to, I mean, have it be connected to an international. We need to, you know have this strong structure that is like economically strong, and also ideologically strong, so that we don't fall into the same traps of that bureaucratic degeneration, for example, and so that we can push back and actually win against the attempts of capitalists and imperialists, these powers trying to crush any attempt at socialism that we make.
So why was it common for a lot of these socialist movements to turn to fascism? Was it because of these supposed cults of personalities, these individuals who gained like immense power um over like the people by using these socialist ideas? I'm specifically referring to like individuals like Mao Zedong during the China's Cultural Revolution in the 60s. How why does socialism um so commonly fall to fascism in history?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, like, with Mao and Stalin, the reason why, like, there is like that big bureaucratic degeneration and like authoritarianism that arises, um, it isn't just due to like there being the wrong person in power. We got to remember, like, that doesn't work when we're thinking about capitalism. It doesn't align with like that philosophy of dialectical materialism, and it's observably false. It doesn't really make sense. uh,
Mm.
there's this thing that we can observe where it's kind of like, metaphorically speaking, when one pope dies, they replace him with another, right?
Right.
There is somebody else who takes that place. That's why these ideas of like I don't know, what if I were to like go back in time and kill Stalin or like another like awful authoritarian figure. Um, Marxists would respond, if it weren't that person, it would be another person filling that same role. Their ideas being popular, their ability to like achieve that position and maintain that position, like that's revealing of like a structural issue, and of like a material issue. And so, honestly, I mean, briefly, the reason why have been like those degenerations is because we haven't had that history to reference and pull from it the positives and the negatives and form a synthesis, and also like combining that with real economic power and like the popularity of these ideas like being what they are in a nation like as wealthy as the United States. um, we can look back and see. Let's not do that again. These are the parts that worked. These are the parts that didn't. Let's do the parts that worked, and like study this theory well. This is part of the reason why like ideological unity is so essential. This is why like Marxism really is essential. Although for a period of time like we can all like be like working together, and maybe like those differences don't immediately show, we need to build something ideologically strong, so that we can prepare ourselves against that sort of degeneration in the future.
Right. Well, that's a very like hopeful aspect. Like, thank you so much for sharing that for me. That actually eases my mind a little bit, honestly. And I feel like that's a sentiment that can be shared with like a lot of Americans, because I think people are less susceptible to, or certain individuals who don't like understand like what socialism actually is, they're less susceptible to it based on those individuals in our history books that didn't turn out to be the best individuals. But
Yeah.
with seeing it from that perspective, and like if we all work together in unison to build a system that can actually be sustainable for the working class individuals and fight for actual individuals who just want to live, really, honestly, live a decent life, and at least help out humanity in some certain aspects, maybe we can achieve something that's that can be sustainable for all people, maybe globally.
We will.
Yeah, we will. Let's go. So, do you have any advice for people like us who want to pursue their own political ideologies?
Oh, woo. I mean, I would say like talk to other people, and I mean, like you're saying, like have dialogues with people. And also, I mean, I've got to say it, I'm going to be biased. Learn more about Marxism. Read Marx, read Engels, Lenin, Trotsky. Like study this theory. I think studying dialectical materialism as a philosophy can be beneficial for any of us as individuals, even like in our personal lives. Honestly, this has been like a really eye-opening thing, and discuss it with someone else. I'm obviously gonna like push for y'all to like, if you're interested in what I've been talking about, go to communistusa.org, learn more about the Revolutionary Communists of America, or any section of our international that is closest to you. We've got comrades in 70 different countries. So if you need to talk to about Marxism that is pursuing this actively and is well read, we've got comrades all over that can help you with that.
Great, nice. Yeah, and don't forget when you're reading on Marx to take a drink every time it says bourgeoisie.
Yeah, maybe a kombucha.
All right, well, that about wraps up all the questions that I had for you today. Thank you so much again for joining me. Remind everyone where they can find you.
Thank you for having me. My Instagram is birdschool4birds with a 4. And you can follow my sections, like my branches Instagram at ie.communists on Instagram, or Communists of America on Instagram.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much again. Please go check them out in the links in the description below. Show them all the love and support. This has been Cutiespectives. I'm Jasmine Page, and I'll see you all with another very special guest next month. Until then, take care of yourselves and have a great day. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to share your perspectives down in the comments below, and let me know who you'd like to see in a future video. See you next time!